My next guest takes on Steve Ramirez next Saturday at Bellator 214. It is Desmond the Tyrant Torres joining me here on the program. And Desmond, this is the first time I've had you on the show, so I got to ask the natural question. How'd you get involved in combat sports?
So I started off in jiu-jitsu, about 3 months of doing jiu-jitsu. I started competing. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with especially the competition part. I stayed at home a lot and made sure, I got done with jiu-jitsu. Then I think about maybe about a year later, I went to junior high, started off in a wrestling program, and ever since then it's just been history.
So as this is all going on and you're pursuing this MMA career, at what point did you decide that you wanted to make a run at this? Because for every fighter it's different. It could have been like an amateur fight. It could have been even before they started their career. When did you know this was the career for you?
Actually, I knew from the beginning. This actually a goal. It was when I was young. My father grew up. He was watching like Pride videos, and I was around like the MMA scene basically, and I seen it. I seen glimpses of it on TV. Just like I said, ever since I was young, the UFC and everything's always been like goals, or competing on a high stage has always been a goal. And then 10 years old, you can't really hit those goals right away. So competition, just like I said, in jiu-jitsu and finding wrestling and all that helped out. So it's always been a goal since the very start, about 10 years old.
Okay, that makes sense. And I was looking at your record, and obviously your nickname is the Tyrant. What's the story behind that?
That's a funny story. So just like I said, I was wrestling in junior high, and during, I believe, like sixth or seventh grade, we were in history class and we were learning about tyrannies and like all these tyrant leaders and stuff. And it was during wrestling season. And during wrestling season, I used to, first starting off, I used to slam people like a lot. And, I always had like this aggressive attitude. And people always be like, man, you're like mean, you're like those tyrants that we're always talking about. And then people started saying it. Then I'll never forget one match, people were actually chanting it, tyrant, you're acting like a tyrant. I said, oh, it sounds like it goes together, Desmond the Tyrant Torres, it flows. So I always kept it ever since then. So it's a crazy story ever since seventh grade.
Are you like one of those like superhero guys? You seem like a Clark Kent to Superman. Like you're very calm here, but talking about your fight style, you're obviously pretty brutal, and you like doing the slams. Do you find that it's kind of like you're living two different personalities?
Yeah, honestly, man, I get a lot. Like when I tell people like I'm a fighter or something, they're always like surprised. What? I walk around, I always got a smile on my face, never got a chip on my shoulder or anything. But my father always used to say, you got to always flip that switch. You got to know when it's time to flip that switch. So I know when it is. I know when I step in there, what it is, what kind of mentality I got to be in.
Along with fighting, what else do you do for a living? What pays the bills for you right now?
Well, right now I'm very fortunate enough to be sponsored. I'm sponsored by my gym and everything, so they help me. And then I do like private lessons. One thing I was big into way before this, I was big into working on cars. It was like something I very, very liked, and I found it very interesting too. I went to school for like a long time, for about 3 years. Did a little bit on cars, got certified on that. Kind of put that all to the side just so I can chase this dream and everything, just for the moment and everything. I'll probably end up going back to that, but right now just paying the bills just by with these hands.
For sure, and it's worked out well for you, man. You got that 5-1 record, and you got a huge opportunity here fighting on a pretty stacked Bellator card next Saturday, like I mentioned. How did this all come together, and how excited were you to fight for Bellator?
It's a great opportunity, honestly. It's a huge opportunity. Actually, I knew about this fight before my last fight, maybe like a week before my last fight. So my coach, Colin Oyama, came up to me, oh man, I got this opportunity for you, everything. We're just going to get done with this fight and get done with this first week, and then we're on to the next. I got a pretty big stage for you and everything. So it was honestly, it's a great opportunity. I'm very fortunate just to be, to me, I'm very young in my career still. I know it's only 6 fights altogether as a professional, but it's a very big opportunity. I'm fighting on one of the biggest stages, and not only on top of that, I believe this is Bellator's biggest card to date. They're having the heavyweight Grand Prix there. A lot of local guys with big names, Henry Corrales, uh, Juan Archuleta's on here, Aaron Pico. So it's a huge card, and it was a big opportunity. First fight basically on a huge promotion, and I got thrown right on this huge card. But the crazy thing is that I don't feel like no jitters or anything from it. Like when I used to compete in jiu-jitsu, I competed like at high levels. I went all the way to IBJJF Worlds before. I competed like at Virginia. When I used to wrestle, I wrestled in Virginia State. I wrestled, the state tournament, and so things like that kind of prepared me. Being around big crowds, having people either talk, so things like this to me is, I don't know, it just feels like a walk in the park. It just feels like another normal day.
Let's talk about your opponent, Steve Ramirez, a 6-3 record. How do you feel like you match up against him?
Mm, I believe Steve is a well-rounded guy. Uh, I don't know. I just feel like I've been doing this for a long time. A lot of these things come naturally to me. A lot of these, I have a lot of finishes. He has a lot of finishes too. Don't get me wrong. And I don't know. I feel like I'm a better guy. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm better overall. I feel like I'm young. I'm a young guy. I'm still learning. I'm still improving every single day. Just turned 22 about a week ago. Man, I'm hungry. I'm in this every single day. I wake up and just like I said, I literally gave up a lot just to do this on an everyday basis. And I feel like no matter what he throws at me, I'm already one level above that.
And I know one of the other cool things you got going on right now is you linked up with Terp House, and I know you've been using some of the CBD stuff for your recovery. What is your recovery looking like right now, and how did you end up linking up with Terp House?
Hey, for the first time, I would say first time in any fight, I have no injuries, no bumps, bruises, and honestly, that's very uncommon. And to me, it's a little suspicious, but I can honestly give that all to Terp House. It was funny because actually before Terp House, I was looking for a CBD company to sponsor, and I went through like 3, 4, 5 different companies, and it's something that I really had to trust in. So when Brandon came to me and he spread all his information and gave me his knowledge about his products and told me like how it helped him and how it could help me and how to take them. That's one thing too. Like a lot of these CBD companies would just take our CBD, And Brandon came up to me, if you take it at this time, right, say right before a sparring or something like this, it'll protect you and honestly, I've always taken it. I've taken it since then. I got all the lotions. I got all the oils. I take the oils on a daily basis, always daily basis. If I ever got any bumps or bruises, I always put the lotions on them. Uh, Man, I even went and did one of the CBD bath bombs once. Honestly, just for like a little relaxation. But it's a great product. That's like I said, first ever time I've been injury free, bump free, everything bruise free, and I give that all to Terp House.
How do you see this fight playing out on the 26th?
I think it's going to be an early stoppage. I don't know how I'm going to stop it, but I'm going to stop it. It's either going to be by submission, it's either going to be by a knockout, but I see me finishing it. It's either going to be a first or second round finish.
And I know you're a flyweight. Right now it's kind of in limbo right now what's happening with the UFC's flyweight division. Any thoughts on moving up to 135 in case they do get rid of that division, or you just sort of, do kind of just do what you want to do?
Yeah, well, the fight actually did get moved up to 135.
Oh, did it? Okay, great.
Yeah, the fight got moved up to 135. I had a problem. CSAC had a problem with me making 125. They marked me twice for 2 different fights. I believe one for the King of the Cage and one for CXF. So I had to go get a doctor's note. Unfortunately, I wasn't approved. They said like I was a little too big. But yeah, fighting on 135. Uh, to be honest, the one whole 25 thing I felt like was up in the air. Like how you said, it's up in the air for the UFC, and I'm just trying to look for the best. And it's not just even for the UFC. I just feel like overall, not a lot of companies are picking up on it. Uh, so I was gonna make that move up anyways after this fight, just to show a lot of these big companies like, hey, I can do just as well at 135 as I can at 125. I'll keep finishing these guys. I'll keep trying to push and everything. So I'm gonna do as much as I can. To be honest, I feel way better at 135. I feel like I don't have to worry about another pound to drop. Every single day I wake up now and I think about just this fight, how I'm gonna finish this fight, how much more faster I can get, how much more stronger I can get. So definitely after this fight too, I'll go up to 135. And I'll even look better than whatever I'm gonna look next week.
Good stuff, man. Well, we're looking forward to it. It's Bellator 214, January 26th. Desmond, it was great getting a chance to talk to you, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, you guys can follow me, the Tyrant MMA on Instagram. or on Twitter is Desi MMA. Just give me a follow and everything. Keep up with my story. Just like I said, I'm a young guy trying to look on the way up. You guys will see my come up soon.